How many of you have gone through like a separation, divorce, somebody leaving your company, a customer leaving you that was a big deal, financial issues, and you thought, man, like when you're going through that, you're like, oh man, this is the end. You know that this is part of something that you got to go through to prepare for success. You guys have to understand that you can do whatever you want in life. You really can. And sometimes we're focused on such small little problems and such small little things that it keeps us from doing great things. My job, because I'm committed to it, is to make sure that you're always thinking bigger. And then sometimes I come on here and share these things with you and you're like, well, yeah, but I got this to worry about. Like I'm trying to pay my bills. I'm trying to just get by. I'm just trying to get enough to have some money to invest or go on vacation. I'm just trying. And the problem that you're doing is you're so focused on that instead of really what you want that you end up all the time on this hamster wheel. I'm done that. I've been there before. I don't want to live that way. I committed to myself that I'm going to go big regardless of what's happened in my present day environment. I'm going to focus on the future, and everything that's happening right now is a comma in the story. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Mike Scirocco. My friends call me C-Roc. I come on here Mondays. It's most of the time me to just get you fired up, ready for your week, but to start thinking differently with a different perspective and understanding that good is the enemy of great. It's very easy to fall into complacency and comfortability and go into good. Not even good. Sometimes we're just below good and we're trying for good. And it all sounds good to talk about, but unless we're actually taking efforts to go towards it with our thoughts, words, actions, and an environment that we keep, then you will be the person that says, yeah, that sounds great. That's rah-rah stuff. I mean, I hear it all the time. I see the messages on Instagram, but the reason they're saying that is because you're not acting towards it. And so today's message I want to tell you about is there's a quote. We're talking about good to great. And then, thinking about like Yates and I talk about this a lot of times back in the day a lot is like, there's the must be nice crowd. And then there's like, you see some people and it's like, everything always works out for them. Like everything they touch seems to turn to gold. And that's the perception that we have from the outside. But let me ask you a question, by show of hands, who would like to have everything always work out for them, right? Be the person that everybody looked at and like, damn, I just don't understand. Everything works out for them. And they're coming to you and like, man, you're killing it. Like, how are you doing that, right? And so what we have to understand first and foremost, and you want to write this down if you're taking notes, it will not get better until you do. Whatever it is will not get better until you do. Everybody's always looking out, blaming other things, blaming circumstances, blaming other people, blaming all this, blaming all that, but they don't work on themselves. I've been preaching this for about 3 or 4 years now about I'm going to work so hard on myself that I'm just going to separate myself from the pack. Not just you guys. I'm talking about the pack out in the world. I'm going to separate myself. I'm going to be elevated because I'm going to work so damn hard on myself. Reading, mentorship, being around the right crowd. This past week, being around these people that were in this room for 2 days was unbelievable. It made me feel uncomfortable. And, in ways I made them feel uncomfortable because I'm up in the front pitching an idea. One guy said, well, this is what concerns me and scares me. And I go, whoa. Before we get started here, we're not going to talk like that during my session. Like, that's not how I roll. Non-negotiable is a non-negotiable for me. I'm not going to be around people that talk about being scared and concerned. And that was it. This guy exited the company for over 100 million. And I said that to him. I had the courage to say that to him. And everybody else came up to me afterwards and was like, dude, I can't believe you said that, but we needed that. And that same guy came up to me and goes, thank you. I needed that. But most of us don't have the courage to do that. I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm encouraging you to do the same. Non-negotiable with your standards and your environment if you want to be great. So as we look over the role of a person that wants to be great in this society, we find oddly enough that a person controls just about as much as he has positions on a tone scale. Now I'm going to go over a tone scale in a second with you. Up at the top is fully surviving and thriving, at the below it's death, right? That's a scale, and anywhere in between, right? Somebody that's successful, oddly enough, we find that a person controls just about as much as he has a position on the tone scale. The higher you are on the tone scale, the more you will be able to control and have things work out for you. If you're lower, the less you'll have control, and you'll be a victim and prisoner to everyone around you and everything around you. So all you have to do is continue to be a high-toned individual, and it'll all work out. It's that simple. Now, going back to the quote. Now, all you have to do to be a high-toned individual is just read across the chart of human evaluation, which I'm going to go over with you in a second, and say, well, that's my postulates. Postulates are something that you're making a decision for the future. That's my decision for the future. All you have to look at that and say, I want to choose that over this. And you're in. I'm now a high-toned individual. Everything starts with a decision to be. Who are you going to be? What are you going to be? And what I'm going to show you right now with these different human evaluation, you can decide where you want to be. You have to decide. There's no choice. Because if you say, I'm not going to decide, then you fall right into the category of indecisiveness. You see? You're choosing to be one way or the other. So you might as well choose the one that works out the best. Back to the quote. This is just an example. When people come and tell me the police are on the way up, I say, haha, imagine that. When the cop comes in, I give him a cigar. I go down and I talk to the judge, and the judge says, well, these boys must all be mistaken. I'm a high tone individual. This is the kind of thing that happens to me all the time. Got the idea? So have you ever had a ticket, got pulled over for a ticket and gotten a ticket and the cop was a dick to you? And then have you ever gotten a ticket before, but got pulled over and didn't get a ticket and the cop was really nice? He just said, hey, listen, I'm gonna write you a warning. Take it easy. And you wonder and you think it's a coincidence or you just think it's the cop and that you have no control over that. I got news for you. Whether you believe it or not, it's all under your control. So I wanted to read that quote to you because that quote hit me because I'm like, I want things to always work out. Now, I'm not afraid to go through tough times, difficulties, because I've decided, I postulated in my mind, if I ever go through a tough time, I'm going to suffer well. I'm going to be happy no matter what. I'm going to stay up tone no matter what, and I'm going to keep going no matter what. And I'm going to be thankful, most importantly, grateful for everything that I do have, even though I'm going through a tough time no matter what. So let's go through this chart real quick. The first one is survive and dead. Survive and dead. You got it. And then there's, obviously gradients in between. And I'm just going to go over this one just for this one. But like below survives is I'll live forever. How can I do otherwise than live long? I'm alive and I like it. Sometimes you don't survive. Keep going down. Everything had better succumb but me. I guess I'll succumb, but maybe I'll take you with me. I can't survive it. I'm waiting to succumb. I'm dead. Okay, you see the gradients in between? This chart is available if you're interested, but more importantly, let's go to the extremes. Survives and dead. Okay, that's the first one. Write these down as we're going through here. Survives and dead. You make the decision of where you want to be, anywhere in between. By the way, this is always in your control. I want you to know this. You have control over this. You have to understand this part. You are in control because even if you say I'm not in control, you're deciding that that's a decision. And then you fall somewhere on the chart based on saying I'm not in control. You have to understand this and you have to take intentionality behind it or put intentionality behind it. All right, the next one is right, R-I-G-H-T. I'm right, and then I'm wrong. Right and wrong. The next one, fully responsible, and then no responsibility. So when you're fully responsible, you have control. No responsibility, no control, right? These are decisions we're making, guys. All right, number 4, owns all, owns nothing. Owns all, owns nothing. And remember, we're deciding here, nothing gets better until you do. Nothing gets better until you do. Number 5, everyone, nobody. Everyone, nobody. By the way, this one reminds me of the fact that we have to be reaching out and connecting with people as much as possible like maniacs. Everyone or nobody. People have everything we need. If you're in business, sales, whatever you're doing, people have everything you need. Number 6, always or never. Always or never. Number 7, motion. It could be the source of motion or in motion and then stopped. Number 8, truth or hallucination. Hallucination, a lot of times we're hallucinating problems that aren't even there. Scenarios and outcomes that could happen that never ever happen. Number 9, faith or distrust. And remember, there's everywhere in between. Number 10, I know not, or I do not know. I know, or I do not know. And then number 11 and 12, there's 2 more. You have cause, being the cause of something and everything, or your full effect. Cause or full effect. And then finally, I am and I am not. Now, if you think about this, the first one I talked about was survives and dead. All the ones across the top lead to surviving and thriving, and all the ones along the bottom lead to death. So based on this and going back to our quote saying that if you want to be the person that everything seems to work out for, everything always works out, you need to be thinking about the things on this chart that I just went over with you and making the decision that you're the top one. And then once you make the decision that you're the top one, all it takes from there is just consistent thoughts and actions and the environment that you keep go towards those things. You postulate the top ones and you stay away from the bottom ones. I know this seems simple and you're probably thinking like, oh yeah, I could see how that could work. But I promise you, if you focus on this and you make this part of being great instead of good and settling for good, it'll change your life and you'll be unstoppable. There's no way not to be. And by the way, I'll throw this in before we open this up. All of you have survived everything you've been through up to this point today. So no matter how many bad things you've been through, and if you think back in your life, how bad you felt sometimes when something happened. How many of you have gone through like a separation, divorce, somebody leaving your company, a customer leaving you that was a big deal, death in the family, financial issues, and you thought, man, like when you're going through that, you're like, oh man, this is the end. So dark, you had no light at the end of the tunnel, right? I think we've all gone through that. And if you haven't, you've been focused on the top of this chart, by the way. But when you're in the midst of an adversity, there's no hope. Well, the closer you are to an adversity, except when you prepare yourself ahead of time, then when you go into these situations, you just know that you're going to survive it. You know that this is part of something that you got to go through to prepare for success. You see, there's a thing called a syndrome for people that get wealthy fast, unearned wealth syndrome. People that win the lottery, sports athletes that get rich really quick, they blow the money, they get depressed. You see, preparation has to happen for success. And part of the preparation is the setbacks, the difficulties, people hating on you, throwing digs your way because they want success. The universe, God wants to see if you're prepared for the success. So when the stuff comes, most people take the negative and say, you know what? This must not be for me. And so-and-so got success. They didn't have to go through this. It must not be for me. Instead of taking it and understanding, okay, this is to prepare me. I'm going to learn here. I'm going to build up some strength here. I'm going to build up some calluses here. I'm going to build up some awareness here. And then I'm going to take the success and I'm going to feel it. And it's going to feel so good because of what I had to go through to get it.